Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another edition of Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. It is so great to see you as we share, connect, and of course, strengthen our relationships. And we love doing that one person at a time. And today, we have a special guest with us, and I am all excited about hearing this conversation, not because of what happened, but what has been overcome. We have the Reverend Marie Roach-Hepburn all the way from Smith's Point in Freeport. I shouldn't say Freeport, right? But Grand Bahama in the Bahamas. And she is here and she's going to share her story of overcoming. Overcoming, yes, that ladies, that word we don't want to have anything to do with. Yes, the big C. And so I'm excited to be able to, facilitate the conversation to even hear about what has happened, how she dealt with it, and how those of you who are facing it or know someone who is facing it, what you can do to help and how you can definitely overcome that situation. So if you're watching with us, go ahead, hashtag Live Squad in the chat. Let someone know that we are live. Let someone know to watch this. Those of you who are catching the replay, share it with someone because your sharing will definitely help. And so welcome to Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. Hello, Reverend Marie. How are you?
I am well. Good evening. It's wonderful to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Like I said, just when we hear about cancer and people who have faced it or who are facing it, it's usually met with a lot of worry, concern. We're afraid, we're scared because we've known people that we've lost to this illness, this disease. And so when we have someone who is here like living and we could touch and you've survived, it really gives us hope. And so share with us before we get into your story, share with our audience who you are and tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, everyone. As I said, it's wonderful to be here this evening with you. My name is Marie Roach-Hepburn. I was an educator for most of my life. I mainly in the Anglican schools and as a teacher and then as an administrator. I grew up in Nassau. My father was an Anglican priest, Neil Roach. My mother was a secretary. I have three sisters. I'm married to Theron. We celebrate our 8th anniversary on Tuesday of this week, on the 25th of October. He has three children, so it's wonderful. And right now, I am the rector at St. Jude Parish in Smith's Point. I was at Christ the King in town in Freeport for a while, but February 1st of this year, I was stationed at St. Jude Smith's Point, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Love it there.
Awesome. That is great. That is great. So 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years.
Awesome.
Me to say 10, but it is 8.
That is great. That is great. Congratulations. And I hope you all have something nice and wonderful plan for your anniversary. We're always believing in that and encouraging that in our Unique Couples Club and community. So congratulations. Yeah. So all of this is happening. And so you've grown up basically in a faith environment.
Yes. My faith comes from my mother. Very strong woman of faith who also went through breast cancer. And so, a lot of it, she's no longer with us. She died in 2013. But just the memories of her and how she went through the process, it gave me strength. So.
Okay, so how was it? When did you find out? What was that process like? Because you said your mother had it. Did you go ahead and was doing mammograms and all that stuff ahead of time? Tell us.
Right. So I have a family history of breast cancer. My mother, or most of my aunts, my father's side and my mother's side, all had breast cancer. So all of us, all of the females in our family are very conscious of this. We don't have the genes, so I can't even explain why it is we all get it. Um, so we've all been getting mammograms and doing self-exams on a regular basis and encouraging each other to do that because I have several cousins as well who had breast cancer. And in December 2019, just, you're still in the midst of recovering from Hurricane
Yes.
Dorian. And that's another story for another day. But, we were caught up in a truck for 16 hours in the midst of the
Wow.
storm. So, but in December of 2019, I was just doing a regular self-exam because I usually get a mammogram every year. The mammogram that I had earlier in the year didn't show anything, but I was started to have some sharp pains in my left breast, and I did a self-exam, and I just felt a little tiny thing just moving around. Told my husband, and man, that go quick to deny everything. No, no,
Hmm.
no, don't even say it. Don't say it. And he turned over and he said, "No, I'm not listening. I'm not hearing it." So I went to my doctor, Dr. Stubbs, Odia Stubbs, and she did a physical breast exam. She said, "Okay, I feel a little thing. Go and get a mammogram." Um, got a mammogram in early 2020, um, early January 2020, and they said they saw something suspicious. And when she saw the results, she said, "Go and get it checked out immediately." I had a relationship with the University of Miami because we usually do our medicals there through the church. And she recommended that I go there because they have Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, which is attached to the University of Miami. I went over at the end of January, sorry, for a mammogram. When they saw it, they said, "Okay, we have to schedule a biopsy." They did the biopsy and they waited about maybe 2, 3 weeks and came back and they said it was cancer. She told me on the phone. I didn't. Well, I knew it was. I knew it was something. So I
Hmm.
wasn't shocked. I wasn't surprised. I said, "Okay, let's deal with this. Let's do what I have to do." I told my husband, and now remember, this is January 2020. And
Yes.
of course, November 2019 to December 2019, there were these rumors of COVID-19.
Hmm.
Um, and he came over with me to do the biopsy and meet with the surgical oncologist. And God, I could see God's hand throughout this entire thing. Um, and when we went in January, early February, for the meeting with the oncologist, the surgical oncologist, he said, "Okay, let's schedule um, uh, a lumpectomy." It was just the removal of the lump. And usually it's like 3 to 4 months before you can get scheduled in. That's just how long it takes, how many persons, sadly, that he has to operate on, you know. And, but he said, he said, "Oh, I just had a conference canceled. I'll slot you in then, the 27th of March."
Wow.
He's like, "Oh," I said, "But that's 2 days after my birthday." But I said, "Whenever." I said, "Whenever." He said, "Can you get yourself ready?" I said, "Doctor, if you say come tomorrow, I will have myself ready tomorrow because I need this thing out of me." So we made plans and provisions to go over, got our Airbnb and all of this. We were supposed to leave on the 22nd of
Hmm.
March, my husband and I. And the Sunday before that, a very good friend of mine, after church, she said, "Marie, I know your husband can't stay with you a lot for the whole time. So do you want me to come and drive you around?" I said, "Oh, yeah, if you want to," but I didn't really take her too seriously because
Hmm.
people offer. And I said, "Oh, okay." Well, that Thursday, it was probably Monday the 15th or something like that. My sister called. She said, "Marie, if you're going to go to the States, you need to get out now
Live.
because
Wow.
they're about to close the borders down." And I said, "What?" She said, "Yes." There was a Wednesday. I said, "Well, I can't leave tomorrow. I'll leave Thursday." And because of my husband's job, I knew he could not leave just suddenly. He had to put a whole lot of stuff in place. So I went to my friend and I said, "Look, I know this is asking a lot, but can you come with me on Friday?" we got the last Bahamas Air flight out of Freeport
Wow.
that Friday the 20th of March. My husband was supposed to come out through Nassau on the 22nd. They shut Nassau down on the 21st or something like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so he was not even able to come over with me. Um, but I had my friend with me. She took me to all of my tests. On my birthday, I went to take my first COVID test. Um, and of course, COVID shut everything down. So she and her sister dropped me at the um, entrance of the hospital, and that was it.
Yeah.
I had to go in by myself. I had to meet with the oncologist by myself. I had to go through all of the prep for surgery by myself. But when I say by myself, I knew that God was with me. I had no fear. I had no apprehension. I had no anxiety. I was just ready. I said, God, your will be done. However you want this to be fixed, you fix it because I'm trusting in you for your healing. I told my sisters, they prayed. My cousins prayed with me. I had the whole church praying. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I knew I was prayed up. And I said, y'all make sure y'all pray for the doctor too.
Yes.
I said, Lord, you send your angels, you do whatever has to be done inside that theater. Have that covered in the blood of Jesus. So on the 27th, I had the lumpectomy. They took out the lump and they took out 16 lymph nodes from under my left arm. And initially, I was only supposed to have radiation. So I had only made arrangements to stay there for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and after, it had healed a little bit, and went back to the oncologist, and he says, okay, you're ready for your treatment. And he set up the appointment with the radiation oncologist. And I met with her, and we arranged for when I would start. And the day I was supposed to start the radiation oncology, they got the results back from additional testing of the lump. And they said, no, you show high risk of it returning. And so we have to do chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
But Dr. Takeda, she said, oh, I don't have to worry about you. You're a priest. You know what to do. I don't need to talk to you. Trust in your faith. Trust your faith, And she's a little Asian lady. She said, trust your faith. Believe in God. I said, yeah, I believe in God. She said, you'll be all right. And so I said, okay. So she marched me over to the medical oncologist who said, and she went through all of what chemo would go through, what I'd have to go through, what the things they would have to put a port in on this side. I had to do surgery for that. And what the type of chemotherapy she was giving me. Now, because I was in there by myself,
Mm-hmm.
it's always good, I think, to have someone there with you.
Yes.
I tried to take a lot of notes, but it's just so much to absorb. There's just so much information coming at you. And even though I was writing things down and trying to understand what she was saying, it was just so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was praying, and she said, oh, you're going to lose all of your hair. I said, that's not a problem. Hair will grow back, I hope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she talked about the nails going black and losing sensation in your fingertips and your toes and all of this. And she went through everything with me, how I would feel, sometimes the nausea, the loss of appetite. And so I was very appreciative of that. And I was writing everything down. But what I must say is that, I said God's hand was in it all.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he was able to schedule the appointment, the surgery for the 27th, we were able to get over on the last flight. The Airbnb, all of the Airbnbs closed down. They just shut down. But my friend Yvonne, her sister, who was also an Anglican priest, had just moved to Miami the year before. And so we were able to stay with her. She had a 3-bedroom apartment. And I was able to have my own bathroom because when you go through chemotherapy, they don't recommend anyone using the same bathroom that you do because of all of the chemotherapy that's in your body when it's coming out. So God just put everything in place. I had Reverend Bobby, I had Yvonne. Reverend Bobby had gone through breast cancer 14 years before. So
Wow.
she knew what was going through. Yvonne's son and husband went through cancer. And so she was able to help me and
Wow.
guide me. And so God put people in place.
Definitely.
You
Wow.
know, it's just like he just orchestrated everything.
You're
And
surrounded. Yes.
Bobby's apartment overlooked a lake, and that became my sanctuary. I was sitting on her balcony and just overlooking the lake. When things were getting really rough in the mornings, I would go out and watch the sunrise, and it gave me peace. Um, I went through 6 rounds of chemotherapy, one every 3 weeks. The first two wasn't bad. First two was fine. I was like, oh, it's a breeze. I can get through this. It's not a problem. It's not as bad as everybody says it is. I was eating after, and then the third one.
Wow.
And that's when I started to feel nauseous. That's when my hair started to comb out. Um, and I had shoulder length hair. Um, so I cut it myself. And then it just started to come out. And just every time I did this, a handful of hair.
Wow.
Um, and so I asked Yvonne, my friend, to cut my hair. And she didn't want to cut it. I said, just cut it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm going to cover it with a scarf or something. And she cut a little lower. But then it got to the point where it was just sort of patches.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Reverend Bobby had someone come in and just shave it all off. So I was bald, which was fine. But when I went into the chemotherapy, whenever I went in to receive the treatment, my prayer was always, God, as this chemo flows through my body, let it be the blood of Jesus flowing through my body, healing and touching every cell that is not as you created it to be,
Mm-hmm.
removing every cell that shouldn't be there, strengthening every cell that has been weakened. And whatever it is you need to do, God, just let the blood of Jesus just flow. As the chemo flows in, let the blood of Jesus flow in as well.
Wow.
And so that every time they put those bags up with the chemotherapy and all the other drugs that went along with it, I said, this is the blood of Jesus flowing through my body and healing me. Um, and, I think it was my faith. Well, I know it was my faith that kept me calm and kept me at peace through the entire process. Because under normal circumstances, I
Mm-hmm.
would have someone there with me. Under normal
Yeah.
circumstances, somebody would have been able to come and sit in the room with me, talk with me, chat with me, keep my mind focused on something else. But when you have to enter the hospital by yourself, go go and get your blood test by yourself, wait for the blood results, praying that your blood count is sufficient or good enough for them to do the chemotherapy. Because if my blood count was too low, then I'd have to put it off until I could get the blood count up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was always my prayer as well after the chemotherapy. Lord, just increase my blood count because I really can't stay here too much longer.
Yes.
I need to get this sorted out. Um, and so, I'll tell you how God works as well. On August 25th, 2020, was my last chemotherapy treatment. August 25th
You
is my
started March
I
and March of that same year, and you
started
ended August
August.
25th.
Yeah, August 25th I had the fifth one on August 2nd. That was the anniversary of my mother's death. On August 25th was the anniversary of my ordination to the priesthood. And
Wow.
I said, God, I said, this could only be you. So this could really only be you for this final treatment to end on a day that began a whole new step, my
Mm-hmm.
new walk with you on the 25th of August. So I was so happy, and through it all, the last 3 treatments were really bad. I lost my appetite. I started to throw up. I lost a whole lot of weight, which I hoped I would keep it off, but I didn't. I told them, I said, look, your prayers were too hard. The other thing I would recommend too is that But I learned this from a friend of mine who went through cancer when I was in seminary. He said, always tell people precisely what to pray for. So don't just say,
Yes.
pray for my health. Say exactly what you need. So I
Mm-hmm.
would ask, I said, look, my appetite is gone. Pray for my appetite to come back. I'm feeling weak in my legs. Pray for my strength in my legs. Um, my memory started to go. I said, look, I'm having difficulty remembering words. Pray for my memory to stay strong. And so when I got back, I said, okay, y'all can stop the prayers with the appetite now. The appetite is so you can stop those prayers. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yes, definitely. You have to be
Yeah. So you
specific
have to
in
be
those
really specific.
prayers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I learned from him, and that's what I did throughout. Whatever it was that I felt that I needed at the time, I told my family and friends, this is what I need prayers for. Um, the other thing how God kept me was every morning he woke me up with a song. Every morning.
Ooh.
But I guess I got to go back a little bit. In November of 2019, just about every morning up until December, I woke up with the song "It Is Well with My Soul."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, God, why are you giving me
Yes.
this funeral hymn?
Peace like a
You try to
river.
tell me I could
Oh,
die.
me by the river too. Yes.
But then when I got the results and when I got the thing, I realized he's saying, Marie, it is well with your soul. When troubles and sea will billows roll, whatever my
Mm-hmm.
Lord have taught me to say, it
It's
is
well
well
with
with your soul.
yes.
And so I was like, okay, God, that's what that song was about. Letting me know that it is well. Everything is going to be all right.
Yes.
And every morning he woke me up, and it got to the point where I started to journal, and I would write down the songs. Whatever he woke me up with, I'd go onto YouTube, and during a devotional time, I would play that song. And throughout the day, I'd play that song. Um, and I started writing it down, and it's like 2 pages, double line, double columns of hymns and songs that God woke me up with every morning, with whatever it was I needed for that day. He
Yes.
gave me a song. Yeah. Um, my husband, as I said, wasn't able to be there with me, but he, the good thing out of this is that he learned to use his smartphone. Oh, my husband, I think he's the last person on earth with a bubbler. So, so he learned how to use the WhatsApp video. So we'd wake up in the morning and we'd talk, and in the evenings when he came home, because everybody was on lockdown.
Yes.
So he would put it in the kitchen as he was preparing his dinner, and I'd tell him what seasoning to put on the food, and how to turn the oven on, how long to leave it in the oven. Yeah, so we that's how we kept in contact. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we kept in our relationship going. And when I went into chemo, I would FaceTime him. So he became very, very proficient at
Yes.
WhatsApp video.
And cooking too.
And cooking too, and washing. He had to go in there and turn on the washing machine. So yeah, so and I said, I have to remind him, but I said, you know how to cook.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's how we kept in contact. But God was with me throughout, and I thank God for Bobby and Yvonne. Um, Yvonne, whenever she felt I was feeling a little down, she said, "Okay, let's get in the car," and then she'll just drive me around Miami. I got to know Miami so well, and in Fort Lauderdale and US one. So just to get me out of the house and feeling better, because everything was shut down.
Shut down. Yes. Yes.
So um, yeah, so then I started radiation. I had to do um, 16 rounds of radiation every day for about 15 minutes each day. And I told them, look, October 12th, I'm going home. I said, now you all have to do whatever it is y'all have to do. But on October 12th, I am ready to go home. I said, I don't know if the borders are going to be open. Somehow I'm getting home. um,
And this
so
date was significant because you just decided this was the
this is
date, or
decided. That's a public
yeah.
holiday. I'm going home. No other reason that I'm going home. And so when I finished this 14th treatment, I was
Mhm.
like, okay, one more to go. And the nurse practitioner, she looked at me like in shock. She said, "You sure?" I said, "Yeah, I only have one more to do." She said, "Okay, hold a second." And she went out. She came back and she said, "No, you have to do 5 more booster ones."
Wow.
No, I can't take another one. And then I heard God saying, "You said whatever it takes." I said, "Okay,
Mm,
if you say so, I'll be obedient and do what you say."
yes.
Um,
Wow.
and so I finished the last one on October 10th, and no, October 9th, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, on the Friday the 9th, and Monday the 12th, I was on a plane coming home, bald head and all.
Mm. So you were
But God,
traveling by yourself?
no, Yvonne came home with me.
Okay.
We had to actually charter a flight to come home because my immune system was still very low, and they didn't want me to travel on a commercial airline because COVID was still
Yes,
very strong,
rampant.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
rampant. Um, they didn't want me to travel on a commercial airline to sit in the airport. So we had to come home on a charter. Um, but God is good. Um, he just worked everything out so well.
Praise
Um,
God. Praise
so
God.
yeah,
At what
it
stage
took
did they catch the at what
yeah.
stage were you when they caught him?
I thought it was stage one, but when I read my notes, um, when they said stage two, and then when they did the biopsy, when they did the second, the more intensive uh, on the actual lump itself, they said it was stage three. So and it was very very small, it's like millimeters. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, um, and when I started radiation, I got what they call lymphedema. So this whole arm was swollen. I mean, like fat sausages. I couldn't wear my rings. My fingernails were all black. I had to actually go to physiotherapy. I had to learn how to wrap my hand, from my fingers all the way up to here,
Wow.
so that it puts like compression
Mm-hmm.
to reduce the swelling. Um, and I had to do that for up until the end of December. And then I moved on to what I call a sleeve, the compression sleeve that I have to wear when I travel, whenever I overdo it, and this arm would swell. So this arm is slightly bigger than this one.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. Um, and I give God thanks because there was a time when I could not even do this. I would have to take my hand with physiotherapist and actually squeeze my hands together as a part of the treatment, um,
Mm.
because everything was just so swollen, and I could not even move them. Um, so, God is good. The first time I was able to put my wedding ring back on, I took a picture and sent it to my physiotherapist and said, "Look, see, I can wear it." But
Yes.
yeah, so it's all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
With the lymphedema, they say they don't know, they can't tell who will get it and who won't. They said it's really just, they just don't know. Some people get it, some people don't. Um, so unfortunately, I was one. And there's nothing you can do apart from keep the compression and keep your weight down, keep exercising,
Mm-hmm.
and not lift too many heavy things. You can lift up to 5 to 10 pounds or whatever, but you just have to be very careful. But I'm good.
Okay. Wow, wow. So you are here, thriving in spite of it all and just still full and excited about life. Okay. So
Yeah,
besides the
the
lymphedema,
lymphedema.
yes.
Yeah,
How is everything else in terms of with you physically? You're keeping up with, is there any
yeah.
special diet you have to do? How,
Exercise,
mhm.
right? I've been told, well, I need to exercise, so I go walking. When I first got back, I could literally only walk to the driveway and back, out of my driveway and come back. So I sort of set goals for myself. My husband would walk with me. So then we say, okay, let's walk to a friend's house, to Pilot Debbie's house and back. And then I'd say, go to the other place and back.
Mhm.
And it took me quite a while to build up my stamina. to walk. Now I'm up to three miles a day. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's good.
exercise, um, diet. I have to do bilateral mammogram once a year. So that's a mammogram on both breasts. And I
Okay.
also have to do an MRI um, on both breasts once a year. So I do that. I do the MRI in August and the bilateral mammogram in March, February, March. And I have to do that, they say, for the rest of my life. Um,
Okay.
yeah, just to keep on top of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm also on tablets that I have to take for 10 years, one every day, along with vitamin D3 to strengthen my bones. Um, but apart from that, no, they just say eat healthy and exercise. One thing that I struggled with um, because my joints, because of the lymphedema, I ended up with a frozen shoulder. So I had to do physiotherapy for that. And my medical oncologist recommended yoga. Now, I always had a problem with yoga because of the Eastern religion
Mm-hmm.
and what was associated with it. And after much prayer and contemplation and seeking out the Lord and research, etc., um, what I discovered was that I can do it, but to keep my mind focused on God
Mm-hmm.
and just focused on Him. So when I told the yoga instructor, I said, when you're calling these strange names for poses, in my mind, I'm calling them something else. So I said, you could call it whatever you want. Serpent, I am not putting in any kind of serpent pose. I'm going to call that something else. Whatever it is, I'll call it something else. She said, that's fine. And I the breathing exercises that we have to do. I breathe in God and I breathe out anything that's not of God, and so I turn it towards my own Christian spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
and it has been helpful. So because the joints are, I don't know what the chemotherapy did, but my joints are very stiff sometimes. So and sometimes I still get like a metallic taste in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
They say that will go eventually. Um, I still have some numbness under my arm, but it's a lot better than it was. So, these are things that, my cousin who went through it, unfortunately, she passed away earlier this year. And she called me to encourage me. She said, Marie, so when you go in for your chemotherapy, put on your makeup, put on the
Mm.
biggest earrings you can find, put on the brightest clothes, colors you can find, and go in there with a smile on your face. And she said, just be positive. Say, don't go in there dragging like you dragging slippers and stuff. Say, no,
Yeah.
go in there all dressed up and like you go into a party. And so, what I like to tell people is just be positive about it. You
Yes.
just keep positive. Any negativity, anybody who starts to bring you these negative thoughts or, oh, you should have done this, or why did you do this? Just say it's all right, and just stay
Yes.
positive. Just keep your mind focused on God and the good things in life, and be thankful for every day. Every day is a blessing. I'm here, my cousin isn't. You know,
Yes.
so every day is a blessing.
Yes. Sorry for the passing of your cousin. And,
Yeah,
even though she's gone, some of her words are still living with
yeah,
you,
yeah,
and it will definitely help
yeah,
even the persons, the ladies, the men, the families who will be watching this and continue to
yeah.
watch even after we, um, end our life. And that's great because,
Mhm.
she gave you those words. And you know I just got a vivid picture of you
Oh
wearing
yeah,
the brightest and doing that,
right. And I,
going into that.
I got these these caps, and it says made from bamboo, but it's like they're almost like a knit cap, very
Okay.
soft, bright colors, and very soft. So you could either do a little swag on the side or a swag in the back. So, and
You
then
just swagged out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to learn how to draw eyebrows because you lose when they say you lose your hair, you lose your hair, eyelashes, eyebrows, the hair on
Everything.
your arms, you have no hair. Um, So I
Wow.
said, oh yeah, okay, now I have to learn how to draw eyebrows on. But you know, this is yeah. But it's
Yes.
good. You just have to look at it and say, God, thank God I'm here. Thank God I
Yes.
have the strength to draw eyebrows on. Because
Yes.
there's so many who can't even lift a hand to do that, you know. So you just give God thanks for every moment that you have. Every moment is a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
One final question before we wrap up. I know you mentioned your cousin and how your husband was dealing, but how was your family, impacted by the diagnosis, the treatment, and recovery? How did they, feel, deal with this? Because you said so many of you,
Yeah.
either experienced it or knew someone who did.
A lot of support. Start with my cousins, my Trinidadian cousins and Bahamian cousins. A lot of prayers, a lot of support. And from the church family, every day they would send me WhatsApp notes or voice messages, just words of encouragement. My sisters, we all had the sense that it would be one of us, and I never asked God why me,
Mm-hmm.
because I figured, okay, you know why me, um, and so they've all been supportive. They have all of my sisters have taken the BRCA test, um, and we all did our mammograms because of what my mother and my cousins went through. So
Yes.
we just encourage each other, um, and yeah, just phone calls and whatnot. Because during the time, we were shut down.
Yes.
Because the plan was that 1 week one would come and stay with me, and next week another one would come, but of course that all got
Everything
thrown
went.
out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they support me. As soon as I was back, my younger sister came and spent some time here in Freeport with me, and then my elder sister came, spent some time just to make sure I was all right.
Yes.
So
Yes. That
yeah,
is great.
so it's
Um,
good. Um, you must have that family support, um,
yes.
or um, or even good friends. So important to have some support.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing your story. Any final words of encouragement for that lady out there who probably just found out that she is facing, breast
Mhm.
cancer, or to the husband who might be there and having to deal with,
Yeah.
his wife facing the situation, or any family member? What would you say? Any words of encouragement, final words to our viewers and listeners?
Yes. What I would say, first of all, before every female should get a mammogram, at least once a year, even if you don't have breast cancer in your family. It's so important to be screened and
Yes.
have it
Mm-hmm.
checked, because early detection really does save lives. To those who've just gotten the report from the doctor saying that it's breast cancer is not a death sentence.
No.
Um, it is not. There are so many survivors, and do what the doctors tell you to do. They have been trained. They have gone through. They have treated so many others. Be careful of those who tell you, "Oh, only do the natural method." You have to go to God and ask God to show you what is best for you, um, and how He wants to heal you,
Yes.
um, and then be obedient to what He says. And He always confirms it through others. Um, so always go with a positive attitude, believing that you will get through this. For husbands who are listening, just be there for your wives. Just support in any and every way. There are times when she's going to be so weak that she may not want to get out of bed. So you may even have to wipe her off, or dress her, feed her, whatever she wants to eat. One thing the doctors told me when I was going through it said, whatever you want to eat as you go through chemotherapy, when you get to that point, eat it, because you need some kind of nourishment in you.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't restrict my diet there. They said just eat it, because there are going to be days when you don't want to eat anything, but you have to have some kind of nourishment. And pray. Have a prayer support. Have persons praying for you, and be specific about what it is you need prayers for that day. Even if it's what you may think it's something simple,
Mm-hmm.
but you ask God and ask others to ask God on your behalf as well. There were times when I could only moan and groan. I couldn't even pray in English because I
Mm.
was just so weak. But I knew that there were people out there praying for me. So, so that's my advice. Just stay positive, trust God, pray, be obedient, do what the doctors tell you, and yeah, trust
Yes.
Him. Trust Him.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for
Most
sharing.
welcome.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. So, if anyone wants to reach out to you, connect with you, how can they do that? I know we have, and I've been so caught up in this some of the questions. So, those of you who had questions, we are going to definitely get to those questions. Give us a chance to actually get to those questions. We'll probably post the answers in the link. This has just been so inspirational, so encouraging to know that even though we may face all of these different challenges, whether it's breast cancer or any health challenge, that we can definitely go to God in prayer, and we
Mhm.
can ask people to pray specifically for what we need, and God hears and answers, and
Yes,
in His time, and
yes.
He'll also
In
let us
His
know, like you,
in
yes,
His way.
in His way, because
Yeah,
it is well with my soul. I love that. I
yeah.
love that. And that is just, so those of you who don't know that song, go and look it up. It is
Please.
well with my soul. So let our viewing audience know how they can reach you, how they can get in touch with you, and we'll share that.
Okay, I can be contacted at St. Jude Anglican Church in Smiths Point. People call it the Fish Fry Church, little white church, right in the corner of Smiths Point. Beautiful church. The office is at the back in the activity center. The telephone number is 602-1024, 602-1024. And the cell phone number, you can WhatsApp me on 827-6717, 827-6717. Yep. I don't know if you need my email address, but one of those.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Reverend Marie. This has
Thank you, Linda.
definitely, I know this is definitely going to help. Thank all of you who are watching. Go ahead and share this conversation and let someone know, because we're not celebrating, but we're promoting and encouraging awareness, and encouraging ladies to go and get those mammograms, go and
Yes.
get your health check. And even now, Reverend Marie is talking about exercising. So those of you who are not, that's a part of just having a healthy life. Make that a part of your life as well. Okay, so stay healthy, be healthy, and it's your mind, it's your relationship with
Body
God.
and spirit.
Yes, and the relationship you have with other people, because you were able to call. You see how long you were away, you were able to call on a friend to be there for you during
Yeah.
that time, and that is amazing. So we want to have those wonderful relationships
Yes.
with the people who are around us, with family, with friends, and definitely with your spouse, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so definitely connect with God, and as you grow closer to Him, um, He'll help you to really grow closer to others in the correct way. Okay,
Yes.
because we need to definitely have those positive relationships with others. And for those of you who are married and you're not a part of our Unique Couples Marriage Club, go ahead and join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. And for those of you who are to the point where, hey, you need to, ladies, you want to become and be a better version of yourself. You want to make sure that you are who you need to be, and not allowing past baggage or hurt or pain to have you feeling stuck and feeling as if you cannot live your life fully. Join me in the Being Me course as you be you. Be the person God has called you to be. So go ahead and join me for that as well. Thank you so much, Reverend Marie. You
You're most
heard
welcome.
how to get in touch with her, and I'm sure she is going to definitely be able to encourage you even further. Thank you so much for sharing. And to our
Welcome.
Unique Couples community, we want to say we are definitely building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. Stay in touch. We love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.